I'm a modular synthesist. I design sounds, and the musical language that I speak is Indian classical, specifically North Indian classical, Hindustani, which I studied as a vocalist growing up in Delhi. And when I was kind of introduced to sound synthesis in my adult life, that's the only language really that I know is Indian classical, so I obviously brought that knowledge with me to this medium of sound design and modular synthesis, and just kind of creating a sound from scratch, and creating a palette and a feeling and a mood in sound from scratch. And I think I just found something really special and unique, because Indian classical music has, well, it's so big, it has such vastness, and I'm a student forever, there's so much to learn in it. And as I learn the music more, as a vocalist, as an instrumentalist, I also get more to explore and get deeper with my synthesis and with my synthesizer, because there's so many limitations in what the synthesizer can do with respect to the type of music that Indian classical music is. And my kind of question is, where is the new world? Or what is the new world that gets created, that gets manifested, that gets realized when you put these two very separate, big and vast and powerful worlds in their own right together? And what happens? What new world is created? Can it be free of the previous traditions, or character, or mannerisms of either of the previous worlds, and just be its own unique new world? And that's kind of what drives me with my music. Modular synthesis. I also sing Hindustani classical music, and I'm a programmer. I like building things, so I come to composition and sound design also from a very logical perspective sometimes, but of course you have to come back to the body and how you feel and how it makes you respond. But I definitely do really like instrument design and building instruments and that kind of nerdy stuff, and modular is great for that, because it's very technical, and it can be more technical if you want it to be, or less. Really, you can really design that system for yourself and go really deep if you would like. That's a little something. And it is going to be, because so much of music, a musical cultural context or musical type, is determined by the instrument that plays it. What are the capabilities of the instrument? The instrument, that's why when you think of Indian classical, you think of sitar, sarod, you think of these instruments that defined the genre itself, and they're so intertwined that if you just change the instrument, of course it's going to change the nature of how it sounds. But I mean, at the end of the day though, you have the theories of Indian classical music, the rag system, which my teachers described to me as getting to know a person. You get to know a rag, and you get to know the feeling and the energy and the mannerisms, and then you can bring that to different sonic palettes. And at the core of it, it carries, or should carry, the responsibility of the performer is to do their best job to show this person, this rag, in the best way possible, in the most accurate, true way possible. But it's a new thing, I don't really know. I'm not fully there yet, right? That's the curiosity, that's the question, is it possible? But also it might not be. It might be something totally different, and that's good also. Absolutely. Because new things get created. I mean, using the voice, you can do pitch detection on the voice, and then you can convert that number. You get a hertz value, fundamental hertz. You can convert that into control voltage, and that conversion, you can do it in a few different ways. The way I do it is through actually MIDI, fractional MIDI. I should probably do it in analog, it'd be easier. And there's like one Eurorack module that does it, but I like to build things, and like I said, I'm a programmer, so I just kind of went for it, you know. But the pitch gets converted to fractional MIDI, which then gets, which I then have like all of the pitch bend data that I calculate and then send it to the synthesizer through Max. And I was using Max, but now I use the Expert Sleeper's FH2 module, which is a fantastic company. I forget where they're based out of, but they do a lot of, they make modules that integrate Eurorack with your computer. That's like their whole thing. They're very like programmable modules. Like you can have this one, you know, like CD out on the module be anything you want, like an LFO, an envelope, pitch, very programmable, right? So like using systems like that, you can really, I found that I can really customize what I'm doing on the synth, which is cool. Like that I have that power to do that. Yeah. And then I can sing something and it'll just track my voice and play it on the synth. But it sounds kind of weird. It sounds a little bit like a theremin.
Yeah.
At first I was very taken aback, but yeah, but you know, that it's the experiment. That's the experiment. The only way I know how to really think about music is in that language. It's like speaking in English versus Hindi, you know, like what are you thinking? So Under the Lilac Sky was basically written a little before the pandemic, but like really written in the pandemic, and I was living in Castro in San Francisco, and I would just go for a lot of walks after work and just go walk around the Castro neighborhood. Like California parks are truly magnificent. Like the succulents were thriving, like the sunsets were beautiful, and I just wanted to write something for that magic can exist despite like all of the other things not working out, you know. And it wasn't really like planned in that way, but I just thought it would be a good idea to, you know, put together a piece of music, a full piece of music that is for just like a one-time listening. If you just heard it all the way through, like it's a journey. You're going for a walk. Like what do you want to? You want to be going on a journey. And I'm going on these like hour-long walks around my neighborhood, and I just wanted a soundtrack for that. So yeah, that's how it came together. And I mean, loosely, you know, some people will say that, you know, the moods don't matter, the time of the day don't matter. Others will be like, no, it does matter. It's really what you make of it. Like, do you feel like the evening when you're playing this rag? If you don't, then maybe it's not meant to be like that for you, or maybe you're finding a different shaped nose in this rag than someone else did. So it is so subjective, and it is also an oral tradition, so a lot of things have, like, you don't really know what's true. You can only believe what you're taught by your teachers, right? And then once you know enough, you can choose whether you believe that or not. And I'm definitely like 100% a student always, and I wanted to explore, like, do the moods feel, do the times feel correct for this? And I really think that, I mean, it could have been a later in the day album, it could have been like a 9 p.m. album, but it felt to me like a 6 p.m. album, you know? It's just a feeling thing at the end of the day. That's all you can do. The only truth is really what you're feeling. really tricky.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. No, because for me, for example, it's always about repetition, for example. I like when a track has a repetitive part, and there's something that,
interesting.
Strikes me.
Yeah,
But
I always listen for just sound design, like how is the sound changing, and how is that kind of bringing to life the core kind of melody and rhythm, and like how, you know, the delta is kind of going through. But I mean, if I was to like technically sit down and try to listen to music, that's what I would think about, I guess. But it's funny, like I don't actually listen to, or I haven't been listening to that much music lately, because I just finished writing a new album, and when I'm writing, I can't listen to other music. I've just been listening to a lot of Indian classical music. I feel like for the past year and a half, just like pure Indian classical voice and sitar and sarod, and you know, it's like research for me to listen to that music, and I also just really love it. But I feel like I'm coming out of a spell of sorts, and now I'm listening to new music again, and music of my friends, and just music that's out of the world, and I'm like blown away by how much amazing, beautiful music has been released the past year and a half. And I guess like what I listen for is just like, am I able to be me and like live my life and just do the things that I'm doing and still be with it? Like, can I multitask listening to this song and like something else? Like, did it hold on to me so strong where I can coexist in these multiple worlds somehow? Like, I mean, that feeling is what I look for. But yeah, I mean,
yeah.
That's a really hard question.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
I don't think I don't dream anymore, which is kind of sad. But probably need to change a few things in my lifestyle for that to reappear in my life. But I think some dreams that I very fondly think about often is when I just started working with modular back in like 2017, like around that period, and I had just kind of discovered this instrument, and I was dreaming about it. Like, I was in this romance phase with this instrument, because it just like brought to me just so much power all of a sudden. Like, I felt like I discovered some sort of sacred secret or something. Like, it just like gave me so much capability to like experiment and create things out of nothing. I don't know how else to explain it. And I was obsessed, and I was dreaming about it, reading about it all the time. I was dreaming about it. Like, I was dreaming about patches. My housemates would make so much fun of me because I was having dreams about gear, and it's just like such a. I think back to that, and I'm like, okay, well, I could dream back then, great, but it's quite nerdy. But yeah, I think it was a sign that this is something important, you know, for me, and I'm glad I followed it. I think dreams are a really beautiful place for things to kind of come together in a way that you wouldn't normally ever think of in the physical world, right? Yeah. Like, but that's also where a lot of ideas are born, and a lot of sorry for the word, like problem solving is done. Like, if something doesn't make sense in the real world, and you're like, why doesn't this make sense? It somehow clicks in a dream. Like, even when I was like studying computer science, like I was doing problem sets, you know, that wouldn't make sense in the real world, and I would just go to sleep, and somehow I had the answer in the morning. You know, dreams can do that kind of. Absolutely. They have that ability. So I was just introduced to this new world, and there were so many things that didn't make sense to me. I was like, what is control voltage? Like, why is this module 0 to 8 volts, but that one's 0 to 5 volts? You know, like, what's the system? I'm trying to figure it out, and those were kind of, I guess, some of the bizarre questions that I was thinking of. But it was a while back, and I had quite a few of them. It was like a period, you know, a period of your life when you're just figuring out a new thing. And
Yeah, it becomes almost an obsession.
It's
always with you. It's a
yeah,
concept
it's
in your
like a
life.
curiosity, a
Yeah.
question. You're just
Yeah.
thinking about it constantly and dreaming about it, I guess. So